lunch good? Is lunch
Wait, I didn't get lunch.
okay? Because I'm sorry. Well, don't worry. They just hours of stuff. But so we're gonna get ready for our next speaker. My
Sorry
wonderful
about that
friend
drinking.
Taylor is the owner of Small Guy Promotions, and you'll get to learn about his story as well as that endeavor here. So I will turn it over to him and give him your complete attention.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's up, guys? How are you doing today? Good. Was the pizza good? Yeah, I didn't even save me a slice. I like to eat. Look. So yeah, Small Guy Promotions, a small business here in Omaha. You guys probably, I don't have a lot of younger followers, so you probably have never heard of me. This is my first speaking engagement to a group this big. I've done a couple of other different things, but I started my business in 2013. I saw a need out there to help small mom and pop shops. Do any of you guys have any family businesses or know someone with a family business, a small business? Yeah, crafters, artists, things like that. Yeah, so a good portion of you do. Are any of you artists or musicians or anything like that? Yeah, a few of you? Okay. So a lot of times when you're in those type of fields, when you're first starting off, it's hard to get out there in front of people. You can do things like open mics or galleries or whatever, but a lot of times you don't really know where to start as far as promotion for whatever it is that you do. So that was where I said, hey, you know what? I know a lot of small business owners. I actually never wanted to have my own business. Some things happened, and I don't know, are the slides going to be going? I have a couple of, oh, that's all right. It's nothing big. Yeah, well, no, I thought you were going to put it on the docket, the little outline.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, 2013 is when I started. I never wanted to have my own small business. That was never a thing. I still am fully employed. I work at Ameritrade full time, but working at Ameritrade, that pays the bills. You know, when you get out of school and you have to pay for your house and you have kids and all that stuff, sometimes you got to do stuff that you don't necessarily want to do. So I don't want to work for someone else, but you know, it's a necessary evil right now. Pays the bills, but Small Guy Promotions, that's where my heart is. So like you guys, you go to school, you might not love going to school, but you have to go to school because that's what we do, right? We go to school. But those of you who raised your hands that are artists or musicians or whatever it is, that's probably more along the lines of your passion and what you like. You're like, I love doing this. I could do this 24 hours a day, like no sleep Red Bulls. I can do this. Do any of you feel like that about the things that you do? Who raised their hand about being an artist or a crafter? What is it that you do?
I paint a lot.
You paint a lot? Do you have all your friends seen your paintings?
Yeah, a lot of them have, but they're like all over my room in our house and stuff.
What kind of paintings do you do?
Large acrylic paintings, not really realistic ones.
And what is your goal with that? Or do you just do it for fun, or is it something that?
I kind of do it for fun right now. I want to be a marine biologist.
Okay,
it's not
cool.
really my thing.
Yeah, but you never know. Like I said, I never wanted to have my own business. It just kind of happened. Life led me that way. I saw a lot of mom and pop shops that were like in Bellevue that would open and only be in business for a year or so. And I was like, man, it would be nice to do something to help these people get the word out. Like, what can I do? What can I do? I always knew that I was going to help people, like even before Small Guy Promotions. I just never knew how. I was like, am I going to be a police officer? I don't know, what am I going to do? I volunteer. Like, that's part of, you know, giving back and helping people, but I still needed something else. So what happened was, my father passed away in 2012, very suddenly, and this is the story that I tell that kind of opened my eyes. And I always say his death led to the life of Small Guy Promotions and what it is that I do. So my birthday, I'm a Libra, September 29th. Any Libras in here? Yeah, Libras. If you're like me, you're probably not necessarily conceited, but you like yourself. You like looking in the mirror, things like that. Libras, yes, that's what we're known for. But yeah, so September 29th, 2012 was my birthday. You guys ever been out to Dudley's Pizza in Exarban? Some of you guys. So back in the day, it used to be, in 2012, it was a different restaurant. It was some barbecue place. We went there to celebrate my birthday. My mom and dad, my aunt, some of my friends came out. It was about 20 of us out there. Wonderful day. The birthday was great. we had a good time, and I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my mom and dad because of the way that they worked, the hours that they worked. You know, I work a morning shift. When I would be getting off of work, they would watch my daughters on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but as I picked them up from their house, they would be going to work. So they worked like 5 p.m. to like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning sometimes for a small cleaning company. So we had a really good time at the birthday party. I happened to see my dad that following Thursday. He was excited that we got to hang out and spend some quality time together. And we're from Ohio, so for you Husker fans, I'm a Buckeye. We're from Ohio, and that in 2012, that Saturday, October 6th, the Huskers were going to play the Buckeyes. So I was all excited about that. You know, Buckeyes are going to beat the Huskers. I know you guys all love that. And my dad and I talked on that Thursday about the game and how we should get together and how he had such a good time hanging out. So that's what we were going to do. Okay, so that was the plan. Friday comes, I get off of work, I go home, and I get a call from my mom. My mom says, hey, you know, call your dad, talk him into going to CLeW Medical Center. My dad had congestive heart failure, and it's something that you can live with. He would just have to go to the doctor every 6 months to get a checkup. And he had had a checkup in June, and he was fine. But on this Friday, he just wasn't feeling well. He went to go take a shower, and then all of a sudden, he just started sweating profusely, and you know, he just wasn't feeling well. So him and my mom would go to work together, but she wasn't home at the time. So he got out of the shower, sat in his chair, and when she got home, you know, he wasn't ready for work, so she was wondering what was going on, so started talking to him. And my aunt hadn't come home. They all lived together. My aunt lived with them. She wasn't home yet, but my dad told my mom, oh, go ahead and go to work without me. I'll be fine. When Debbie gets home, I'll have her take me to the hospital. My dad, they live in Bellevue, so that's why she was trying to get me to talk him into going to CLeW Medical. His doctor was at Methodist off of Dodge, and that's where he had told her that he was going to go. Well, when I called, he was already going to CLeW Medical. So I just went there to meet him. When I got there, they had already went to the ER. They rushed him back to a room and had him sitting in a room. Long story short, I'm not going to tell you all the details, but I was the only one allowed back in the room. He was fine, though, when I was with him. He didn't have anything hooked up. He was having trouble breathing. They didn't have him hooked up to an oxygen machine or anything like that. I had only seen him in the hospital one other time at Methodist, and he had like the EKGs that you see on like people's chests and the finger monitor, and he had oxygen. So I was like, okay, this is serious. But at CLeW Medical, they didn't have any of this. So I said, you know, it's not a big deal. You know, we'll be out of here in a couple of hours. Dad, hurry up. We got that game tomorrow that we got to watch. It didn't happen. He passed away right there after me being there for probably about an hour or so, just out of the blue. So there was a lot of anger. Have you guys ever had something happen in your life where it didn't go your way, and then you, like that emotion that you get, and you know it's not right, but you can't control it, but you're angry, and you just don't know what to do with that anger? Any of you felt like that before? And it's okay, it's an emotion. You have to feel what you feel, especially with the grieving process. There's different steps in the grieving process. So whatever it is, when you meet those, make sure you feel what you feel. You just have to find an outlet. So like you're painting, that could be an outlet. Have you ever painted out of anger, or just like being sad, or just happy as well? I mean, you know, things like that, they take emotion. So it's all what you do with that emotion and that energy. So for me, I was really angry and upset at the doctors, because when I initially, you know, on the TV shows, when you hit the button, like the doctors like rush in right away in the ER. That didn't happen. I hit the button and they told me that they were on shift change. And I'm thinking, this is the ER. What do you mean you're on shift change? Like, my dad's here hurting. He needs like attention. Someone should be in here. It's the ER, right? Like, if you went to the ER, like, oh, you cut your leg off, like, and they told you to wait, you wouldn't be calm about that, right? You'd be like, what the heck? So they didn't come, and later on I had to go out into the hall and stop someone, and they still didn't come, and then that's when he passed away. So I was really angry about the whole thing, and I was thinking, oh man, like crazy thoughts, like, you know, if I didn't have a wife and kids, you'd see me on the news because I'd be flipping out in the hospital. But like my daughter, my youngest was 1.5. Well, yeah, 1.5, just over 1.5. So I couldn't react the way that my emotions were telling me that I should react. I had to find something else, and not just there at the hospital, but just in life after the hospital. So a few weeks went by. I was still angry, upset. So I know a lot of people who do music locally on the local scenes. They play at bars, coffee shops, 402 Arts Collective, things like that. And I had messed around with music myself, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a poem, just a little poem, so I can get some of this anger and this emotion out on paper. So you can't keep that type of stuff bottled up. You have to let it out because it'll really ruin you if you just hold on to that anger. So what I did was I wrote this poem out, or what I thought was going to be a poem. Any of you guys listen to hip hop? Yeah, a few of you. So I wrote it out, and I told my friend, I said, hey man, like I just need to record this poem, like, and get this like aggression and anger out of my body, this dark, evil energy. Like I'm tainted right now. I need to, like, I can't breathe, and like I don't know what to do. Like I feel like I'm gonna explode, so I have to do this. And I sent it to him, and he said, no man, you know what? I've got a beat that will work like perfectly for that. I was like, nah man, it's not supposed to be a song. It's just supposed to be like, it's just supposed to be a little tribute to my dad. That's what I want to do. And he just stayed on me about this beat. So he finally got me over to hear the beat, and I recited the poem with the beat, and it actually did kind of fit. So we actually turned it into like a little song called Daddy's Gone. And oh man, I played that song so much. Like after I made it, what happened was I did my verse, and that's all that there was my verse. Well, when I left that night, he put a hook to it. And when he sent it to me the next day, man, my heart was just like, oh my God, like that's like perfect. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do with it. I didn't care if like a lot of people heard it, but it was just something that once I heard it, I was like, oh my God, man, that's exactly what I needed. Like that got most of that anger out. There's still a little anger. Like I'm never going to Bellevue Medical if something happens to me. Like even if I'm about to die, I'm like, no, don't take me there. Like take me somewhere else. If I die on the way, so be it. But I'm not going to Bellevue Medical. But that got a lot of that anger out. So people who know me, they tend to consider me like the positive guy, like the upbeat guy, the happy guy. And I try to tell people that happiness is not being happy all the time. Happiness doesn't mean that everything goes your way and you won't meet any adversity or anything like that in your life. You will. It's going to happen. It might not be death. You might hurt yourself. You might have a bad breakup. There could be a divorce with family members or just whatever. Anything could happen. And you have that emotion and that energy, and you have to do something productive with it. A lot of people I think that you might see on the news, like who commit crimes, I think a lot of those people have either mental issues or they are just like you, and they get super. Have you ever been so upset, like you just see red and you just like want to break something? Like, has that ever happened to you? No? You're lucky, that's good. Well, if any of you have ever felt like that, sometimes it's just a way of expressing that emotion. So people who maybe don't live in a home with a mom and dad and a stable family life, they don't know how to control that emotion and to let it out in a non-harming way. So a lot of times when things like that happen, and maybe it's not the only bad thing that has happened to them, maybe they've had a whole history of bad things that happened to them. And from that, it kind of creates a feeling where maybe they think people don't care about them, or maybe they don't have anyone to go and talk to about how to handle that situation, and it just piles on and piles on and piles on. So it's like a tantrum with the baby. Like they just have to react somehow. Like when I was feeling angry in the hospital, a part of me was like, I need to wild out right now, but I was like, no, I can't, because I'm gonna go to jail, and I have a wife and 2 kids, so that's not a good look, right? I don't want to be in jail anyway. I'm too short to be in jail. I'm too pretty to be in jail. So that's not a good look. So a lot of it is just having that outlet and finding a way to deal with that emotion. Like I tell people, talk to someone. It doesn't have to be a professional, a counselor. How many of you have a best friend? You don't have a best friend? You got 5 best friends, right? 6? Well, you have some friends though, right? Okay, cool. So if you're ever feeling like that, you know, you don't have to go to professional. Talk to your friends. Those are supposed to be the people that you can lean on. If you can't talk to mom and dad or brother or sister, aunt, uncle, whoever, a teacher, you know, lean on your friends. That's what friends are for. Like Andy back there, that's my friend. We've been friends since way before you guys were born. Like 90, 94, we've been friends since. So I know I look young. Y'all probably thought I was in college. Y'all probably thought I went to Creighton, but no, I don't. I'm old. Not old, but I'm older. But yeah, we go back. And if ever I needed something, I could lean on Andy. We've got a core group of friends. We try to get together. It's supposed to be once a month. It doesn't always happen. But we were just talking earlier as we were setting up about getting together later this month. If you can establish those connections and those friendships, keep those, because like I sent him a text like, hey, Andy, like I'm speaking to the HOBY organization and I would like to capture it with some footage. So he is recording back there. I probably should have told you guys that from the beginning, but he's recording back there just because I want to add this to my portfolio of things that I do with Small Guy Promotions. I've had a couple of different events where I've spoken to youth, or like over the summer, I've gone out to the Big Brothers Big Sisters annual match benefit that they do at UNO campus, and I emceed that for them and helped them with that. But I actually wanted to have something where I could capture it so people could see what I do and what I talk about when I speak to people. But yeah, so he's back there. But I was like, hey man, I need some video. Like I need to put it on my website, or like, you know, I need to have a video for YouTube or something so I could show people in the future if they need a speaker or a host or an MC of something, they can see me and see that I'm comfortable speaking in front of groups. Like this doesn't bother me at all. This is cool. So I talk a lot, so this was perfect for me. When Catherine asked me, I was like, you want me? You want me to? Yes, I can do that. So it's cool, that's what it is. But Andy's back there recording, and so if you follow Small Guy, how many of you guys are on like Snapchat, Instagram? Yeah, okay. So on Snapchat, I did a geo filter for here. It's called Small Guy Speaks with HOBY. So if you're on Snapchat, go ahead and follow Small Guy Promotions. If you would like to, you don't have to do it now. You could do it at the end of the event. Maybe you're not sure if like you're gonna like this yet, but if you have a good time, follow me. I'm on Instagram, all those Small Guy Promotions. I have some business cards up here that you can grab at the end if you would like to. But yeah, a lot of what I do with the small mom and pops, I do vendor events every quarter at different locations. I try to do them at community centers where artists or crafters can come, or any other small business or nonprofit like HOBY. If HOBY was interested in participating in 2018 at a Small Guy vendor event, I just figured out my dates for all of 2018, and you guys would be more than welcome to come and set up a vendor booth so you could tell everybody about what you guys do with HOBY. I will give you an invite for that for free for the whole year. But usually I try to help out, especially with the nonprofits who I know it's not about making money for those guys. So I try to offer free spots for them so that a lot of people may not know about HOBY. Like I didn't know about it before knowing Catherine, and do they know Melissa?
They do not know Melissa, but
Okay.
Melissa was our, she had my position for 4 years before I was my position, so.
Okay,
it was a
so
great unit.
yes. And I actually work with Melissa at TD Ameritrade. But before those guys, I just knew that Melissa would always go to this party out in western Nebraska like every year. And I was like, what? Okay. Because my wife is from Hastings. So, you know, do these guys go out there as well? Do they do that? Or is that just,
We'll have the opportunity next year. Yep.
who's going out to the celebration next year in Hastings?
Oh, we go to Concordia.
Concordia now. Oh.
You're on the right track.
Oh, okay.
We're just changing everything.
Oh, that's all right though, you know. Concordia, are you guys going? Are you planning to go? Maybe, yeah.
The weekend-long version of this.
Yeah. So hopefully I don't bore you and like you are excited after this is over. But yeah, so did you not have any of that in the email? I can bring it up on my email.
Oh, it's on the slide.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool, so that was my introduction. My dad, perspective and happiness. So along with those things, a lot of times when something happens, if you get down about it, you know, you think it's the end of the world, especially in high school. Sometimes Maybe, again, you had a breakup or like there's like some girls talking about you, not necessarily bullying, but maybe you're just having friction with other kids in your school. And a lot of times you could think, oh, it's the end of the world, I don't know what to do. But it's not the end of the world. Like, it's so much bigger than that. It's perspective and how you react to things. So for me personally, like, I can't speak for how you should interact when things happen to you, but I can only speak for what I do. So since my dad passed away, like I said, his death brought life to Small Guy Promotions. Small Guy Promotions is the light and the dark of my dad's death. So I took that energy and I had to like harness it and turn it into something positive. So Small Guy Promotions is what came from my dad dying. I probably would have never done Small Guy Promotions if he did not die. I just knew that my dad did not enjoy life as much as he should have, or as much as I would have wanted him to. And to die so suddenly and just no thought of death or being close to death, and it just happening just like that. That changed my life. Do all you guys have your mom and dad? Have any of you had to deal with death? I hope not, but if you have, I hope that you were able to turn that into something positive, or talk to someone and learn to live with that, because that's what it is. Things are going to happen, but we have to learn how to deal with it and move forward from that point. So all that anger and just evil energy that I had, I turned it into Small Guy Promotions. And like I said, I always knew that I was going to give back and do something positive, but I didn't know what. So this kind of, before that happened, I was like, oh, life is long. I can, I'm only in my 20s or I was 30, whenever it was. I have a ton of time to figure out what I want to do. And I still was in that space where I don't know what I want to do with my life. Well, when he passed away, it made me realize that life is short. And that the time that we have here, we need to make sure that we're being productive with that time, because anything could happen. Like if I died tomorrow, if I died today after I leave here, I'm going to be happy because I know I died doing what I wanted to do. I've helped people as much as I can. I made a way for my daughters to live happy. I've got life insurance, so they'll be okay eventually. But I, as a person, if I died today, I would be okay with that. Like, I don't want to die. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to die, but if I did, like, I know that I've done my part to try to give back. And it's all perspective. And that's that happiness that I talked about as well. Like, there's probably something that upsets me or frustrates me every day, especially at work, but I try to put a spin on that. The way I think of it is in this perspective and life being more than about me. When you can shift the focus from you and start thinking about other people, that's when you really can begin to live. Because if you understand, like, life is going to go on whether I'm here or not. So if you can leave like a legacy, have any of you guys ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? Whoever needs motivation in here, do you ever feel like I need to be doing something, but like I'm just dragging my feet, like this paper is due, this project is due, but I don't feel like doing it? Like, look up, if you are on YouTube, even if you're not, like, go to YouTube sometime this weekend if you have a chance. Gary Vaynerchuk. Go look that guy up. Like, I started listening. I don't even know how I found him, and I believe that everything is connected. And every day that I live, something pops up to show me that everything is connected, and it's because of the way that I live. Like, I put positive energy out into the universe, I get positive energy back. So if you put negative energy out there, you're probably going to get negative energy back. So my focus is on the happiness and like, hey, you might have been having a bad day. And this is what I tell people about the ripple effect. And this is all perspective. So if you and I work together and I come to work and you're not feeling so hot for whatever reason, maybe somebody made you mad, or, you had to work on something that was bad, so you're not feeling so good. But when I come in, I'm going to smile at you and say, hey, man, how you doing? What's your name? Ross, Danelle, man, nice to meet you, man. How you doing? Good. Okay, cool. This shirt, this is an artistic depiction of me, Small Guy Promotions, and it says Omaha with the skyline in the background, the Chamber of Commerce O, and at the bottom it says, let's lift our city up. I got the idea, the concept for this, because I believe that we all have so much power that we don't always believe in, but we all have the power to make a difference. So a lot of times when I talk about like giving back or like donating to a cause, people think, oh, I can only donate $5. I can only donate $2. And they're like, they apologize like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Like if HOBY was collecting money for something and somebody donated $2, it was $2 that they didn't have before. So that's like a positive. And people think that, oh, like because I can't donate $1,000 or like they see millionaires with all this money given to different causes around the world and whatnot, and they think, oh, it's because they're rich, they can make a difference. It's not about being rich. Like if you're happy, you're rich. That's what being happy is. So we all have that power. You were having a bad day, the ripple effect. So have you ever thrown a rock in like a lake or a puddle or something, and you see the little ripples that happen? That's energy, right? That's all energy. So when you throw a rock into a lake, you see those ripples that happen as soon as it hits the water, right? You see it, and then they kind of expand out. Well, even after you stop seeing those ripples, that energy is still creating waves out into the lake or into the ocean, wherever it's going. You just can't see it anymore. So an interaction where I might not think that it's anything, but I come and say, hey, Ross, man, how you doing today, man? You know, I'm smiling. If you smile, that releases chemicals in your body to tell your brain that you're happy. So when I do that, if I can turn his frown into a smile, maybe his day can turn around a little bit. Maybe he has the same effect on someone else. Maybe he goes into an interaction that he would have went into with like a bad attitude because he was in a bad mood. Maybe I just helped him with that and he turns that into like a good interaction with that next person. So one of the things that I spoke to Reality Church, I spoke to their youth group a few years back, and I told them about a scenario. It's just made up, but Omaha it's like a little big city. Like, you know, you might go to the grocery store and run into someone that you know, or go, you know, just go wherever and run. You might go to a game or something and see somebody that you might know, right? Have you guys ever gone shopping at the grocery store and ran into someone that you know? Yeah, it happens, right? So imagine this scenario. So you're in a bad mood. You're in a bad mood. You go to the grocery store and there's someone like me that sees you and they say hi to you or something. And for whatever reason, your bad day, you don't respond back to them. You're like, whatever. That's like a bad interaction, right? So what happens when, like this could happen. Omaha is not that big. A couple months down the road, you need a job. How many of you guys have jobs? You have a job? Okay, so you're the only one with a job. You're good. But maybe you want another job. Maybe one of you guys that don't have a job want a job. So you go to whatever company, you fill out an application, or you go online and fill out an application, and then you get an interview. Well, what happens when you go on that interview and it's that person from the grocery store that you didn't say hello to when they said hello to you? You might not even remember it, but they might remember it. So that's just an idea. Like, start to think like that. Like, everything is connected. You don't know it. You might not know it today. Something might happen today. Something might have happened yesterday that is connected to today that you just haven't realized it yet. So everything is connected. So it's all that perspective and how you approach life. So it is what you make it. You may not have the best life, but what is the best life? It is what you make it. And through adversity, you can turn that into something magical. Like, if you can beat the odds and come out on top, I'm sure it's got to be the greatest feeling ever. Like, I had a good life. My mom and dad, you know, they stayed together. A lot of our friends, their parents were divorced. So I don't know if it's because of my mom and dad or if it's something within me, but whatever it was, like from a young age, I always knew that I needed to give. I always had this, like, this fire burning. I can remember when I was a kid and going to like a Jerry Lewis telethon thing in Dayton, Ohio at the Hara Arena, and they were collecting stuffed animals and stuff. I can remember begging my parents to let me go and donate a stuffed animal. I don't know why, but that's the type of stuff that always like is in me. Like, I feel like I need to be able to help. So again, you don't have to have $1 million to make a difference. We can all play our part. You can be a superhero. You don't have $1 million. You don't have to have $1 million. If you ever thought that you can't make a difference because you don't have money, it's not true. you can make a difference. You can make somebody's day, and you never know what that turns into. So keep that like in the back of your mind when you're interacting with people. You know, people get road rage and stuff. Man, you know, you could kill somebody. You could be killed. Like if you are always angry and you approach things and you receive things and you instantly get angry, that's what road rage is. Like, I don't know why people can be the nicest person outside of the car, but for some reason when they get in the car, they're just like, I don't know, like, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or something. Like, they're like the Joker in the car, like, "Argh!" And then they just gotta, it's like a race. They have to beat you somewhere. Like, bro, we're not even going to the same place. Why do you have to speed in front of me like that? Why you cut me off? So, but just be careful and like, be cognizant of those different interactions that you have on a daily basis, because you never know. And you also never know who's looking, even if they weren't like in that conversation at the grocery store, they might have saw the way that you reacted to that person, or maybe a kid was watching. You know, you just never know. So it's like that thing that your parents say when you go out of the house, hey, make sure you're on your best behavior. Like, don't let me hear, hey, when you get home, don't let me hear you were doing something you weren't supposed to do, right? Like, that's what parents do, because they want to look out for you. They know what's out there. Like, I know a lot of times parents don't always see eye to eye with the kids, and sometimes you think they're just nagging on you or whatever, but they usually just want the best for you. And they know they've lived, so they know what it is. Maybe they used to be one of those kids that had trouble, and maybe you don't know that, but that was a thing that they went through, and they were able to like overcome that. And so they just don't want you to go through the same thing. They want you to live better than they did. So that's what that is. So we can go to the next one. Giving back, karma, and the turkey story. So giving back, for me personally, that's what makes me feel good. Have any of you guys ever volunteered? Yeah? What are some of the organizations or how have you volunteered? You again?
Yeah. I help at CLeW Housing Authority, like, things for my mom wants there. Like, I serve food and take care of the kids.
How does that make you feel?
Happy because all the people are really nice.
Yeah, how'd you start doing that?
My mom got a job there, and she likes volunteering and helping people, and like you like help give them like houses and help them live and get back on their feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so she told me to help her volunteer and like serve food and like work with the kids because I like helping kids out. So
Yeah.
Volunteered in a worship band and I lead middle schoolers to make better students.
Man, see? That's dope. That's great. How did you get into that?
My church volunteered.
Cool, cool. Anybody else? I see you over there.
I'm in a charity fitness group that goes around the world and like rebuilds lives and houses and rebuilds churches.
See, man. See, kids, I don't think when I was growing up, I don't think kids were really doing stuff like that. So that I'm really impressed by the things that you guys are doing. In the blue shirt.
I work at a youth ministry at my church.
Yeah? How's that?
So I like that. I go around and help the people figure out like what they're looking at.
See, that's cool. You actually have that hands-on interaction, right? And how do you feel when you get done doing that? Did you do it every Saturday or?
I do every month, once a month on Tuesdays and then every other Sunday.
Okay, and how's that make you feel?
I just really do that.
Right.
I volunteer at a nursing home.
I got you now.
Like, because I feel bad that, like, sometimes they don't really have interaction with other people. A lot of family members don't visit them, and I volunteer at the library in the summer.
Oh, that's nice. So how'd you get into doing both of those? Was that all you? You just said, hey, I feel bad. I'm going to go do this?
Well, the library thing, my mom works there.
Okay.
And I just, like, help with the little kids. Like, there's a summer reading program thing in Fremont, and so I just help with that. And then the nursing home thing was on my own.
That's nice. That's
Like, my grandma was in the nursing home before she died, and I
Mhm.
just felt bad because she was, like, so excited when people would visit her, so.
See, and that everything is connected. Your grandmother passed away. You felt bad. You knew that it made her day when people would come and visit her because they don't always get volunteers, or guests.
Yeah.
So you started to volunteer to do that for other people's grandparents. Maybe they don't have any grandchildren, or like their grandchildren don't live here. That's a big thing, and everything is connected.
I did already for the Salvation Army and
I just did that a couple weeks ago. Yeah. What else do you do?
during the Lydia House, like holidays.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. So let me tell you a quick story about my daughter and I, and the first time we ever rang for the Salvation Army and why we did it. So as parents, we're not always right. Sometimes we're wrong. My daughter, have any of you guys ever went to a school that has done the fundraiser with the world's finest chocolate bars? Yeah? Okay. So my daughter did that. She went to Ashland Park Robbins when she was doing this, and one of the prizes that she got was to get to go in a money vault for like 30 seconds or something like that. So she happened to wear a dress that day, and she had a belt around her stomach. So as she was in the money vault, she got the idea, I'm gonna just grab it all and like stuff it down my shirt, because she had the belt on, so it's not gonna fall out. So she's collecting all the money. When my wife goes to pick her up from school, the teacher walks my daughter out because she got so much money. She got like $106. So when I get home, she's doing the whole guess game. Guess how much I got in the money vault today? I'm like, I don't know, $10? No, higher. $30? I don't know, no. So this goes on about 5 minutes. I'm like, dude, just tell me how much how much did you get? And she's like, $106. And I always remember it, like everything about it. And then she's like, what's that? Like she's still pulling money out. She found $2 more, like in her shoulder. So she got $108. So it was around the holidays. So we went to go and deposit the money into her bank account at SAC at Shadow Lake. And we let her keep $20 out of it so she could do Christmas shopping or whatever she wanted to do. So when we came out, there was a bell ringer. And my youngest daughter, who was still young, 2 maybe, she was all gung-ho about putting $1 in the kettle. But my oldest, who had just got $108 that she didn't have before, would not put $1 in the kettle. And I'm thinking, dude, it's $1. You just got 108, put the $1 in the kettle. She wouldn't do it. We couldn't get her to do it. I was so angry and upset and like disappointed. I was like, as soon as we get home, you're going to bed, no dinner, blah, 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 blah. So she goes home, she goes to bed. And the next day at work, I'm telling the guy that I work with, I said, man, can you believe what my daughter did yesterday? She wouldn't put $1 in the Salvation Army kettle. And then he goes, did she know what the kettle was for? And I'm like, oh. I'm just like, I thought everybody, but she's a kid, right? Because she hasn't experienced that yet, so she didn't know. But I'm just thinking as a parent, she knows what the kettle is, but I've never told her, so how would she know if I didn't tell her? So I get home that day, and I go to her and I say, hey, do you know what that red kettle was for? And do you know why I got so upset about you not putting $1 into the kettle? She didn't know what it was for. So that was like a failure for me as a parent, that I didn't educate her on what the kettle was for. So I said, hey, this is what it's about. We are very fortunate. You have a mom and dad who work hard, so you never have to want for anything. Like, we're not rich, but we can pay our bills. You have a roof, food, clothes, and all that jazz. There's people that don't have a mom and dad, and they don't have it like that. They have it hard. Sometimes they don't know where their next meal is coming from. Sometimes they don't have a place to sleep. That's what that red kettle is for. It's for people like you guys who go out and help others and volunteer to give back. So my wife and daughter went to the store after that happened, and my wife sends me a text, and she's like, hey, we went past the kettle, and she asked if she could put $1 in the kettle. So she did that. And that year, I decided, okay, I always knew I was going to do something, but I hadn't been focusing on that in those years. So we signed up, her and I, to volunteer for a kettle, and that was the first time that we rang for the Salvation Army. We've done it 3 times now. We just did it, like I said, we did it as a family probably about 3 weeks ago. But yeah, it's so rewarding. I don't know how much you guys did, but I got an email and said we raised $143. So I was like, cool, that's cool.
One time when we had a garage sale, me and my friend, we did like a lemonade stand or whatever, and like cookies and stuff. And like all the money we made from that and all the money I got like from my stuff from the garage sale, we donated it to the Humane Society.
See, and it made you feel good, right? See, that's what it's about. What's up, man?
Another thing that a lot of people have been doing and are going to be doing is Operation Others. So,
What's that about?
turkey drive and donating cans. And then right before Christmas, they make boxes for each family, and then they go donate and deliver it to each family.
That's dope. I tell you what, follow me on Instagram or something, and tell me. And if I can help out, if I can donate some food or something, I'll donate.
My church does a thing like that for Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
We raise money and then make Thanksgiving boxes for families that can't afford to buy Thanksgiving dinners and deliver them.
See, that's so dope. Like the feeling that you get from like, it's one thing when you do something for someone who can do it for themselves. What's up? Go ahead. Did you?
My friend died. We just gave a lot of his stuff to charity.
Yeah. So that's doing something, making something positive, that light in the dark. That's what it's about. I'm glad that you guys were able to do something positive like that.
Well, for our church, this summer, we did like a mission trip. We just went out to like North Omaha, places like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like one place we went was like a refugee house. There's refugees from like the Dominican Republic, just a bunch
Yeah.
of like different places. And like they can't speak anything, like they can't speak English.
Yeah.
And, like they don't have really anything, so we went out there. It was pretty fun. But like today, we're going out there to give them like Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Bring a translator so we can like.
Nice. That's so dope. I'm so like taken aback by all the things that you guys are telling me that you do like that. That warms my heart. Like that is just like big. That is truly what it's about. Like when you can really live for others. I always say it's not about me, it's about you. Like I try to live for others because even when I die, I know that I was able to help people, and you know maybe they'll continue to do that. Like the young lady with her grandmother. What's her name? Jasmine. Like Jasmine and her grandmother. The memory of her grandmother will live on because she's doing things outside of that. But yeah, that's what it's about, giving back. I can remember I volunteered for the All Play. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it's a complex over off of 72nd and Harrison, Seymour Smith Park. And it's like a turf baseball field. Two of them they actually have, baseball diamonds. And it's for individuals with mental and physical disabilities. Like you may not think about that when you're out on the court playing basketball or baseball. You might not be thinking about the people who can't play without any, physical or mental issues. But this complex was created for people with those types of disabilities. And through my employer, I was able to volunteer one year. And I just remember, like, when I left, I got to play with the kids. So I got to pitch and help them run the bases and stuff. So the feeling that I had when I left was, like, so amazing. Like, I was just, like, over the moon. Like, I couldn't even contain myself. Like, I was smiling from ear to ear, I was just so happy. And I was like, man, everybody at some point in their life should volunteer and do something for someone else. Because like I was going to say, like, it's one thing when you do it for someone who can do it for themselves. But when you do something for someone that can't do it for themselves, that's when you get that ultimate payoff. Like, and when you give freely, like that's a big thing. Sometimes people give and they think, what will I get? Don't think like that. Give because you want to give. And so that's where all that karma and everything, and the turkey story, I'll tell you about the turkey story too. Karma, that positive energy that you put out into the universe and it coming back to you. It's all karma, pay it forward, circle of life, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. That's what it is. Like if you put it out there, that's what's going to come back. If you are angry and you're putting out bad vibes, you're going to get anger and bad vibes back towards you. You might get a little love in the beginning, but after a while, people are going to get tired of trying to give you love when you only give them like anger back. But the turkey story. So one year I was working for a retailer and, I was probably 21, maybe 20, I don't know. But I said, it's the holidays. I'm going to go and like do a little shopping and get like a turkey or something and some like stovetop and some veggies or whatever so I can donate to the Open Door mission. So I did that. There was nothing about me wanting to get anything back out of that. I just said that I was going to do it. And I did it and I felt pretty good. I spent like $27, not much, but $27 was what I spent on everything that I bought. So I took it down there and donated it. And a few weeks later, I got this letter in the mail from my employer saying, hey, in the past, you had a bonus check that you received, but you didn't cash it. The check was for $30. I will never forget that because I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, And it didn't happen like a year, or 2 years or whatever in the future. It was like a few weeks after I had just done that. So in my mind, I was like, man, that's got to be karma. That's what that is. Like, so that was when I knew that's why I have to live a certain way. Like, I have to be positive and whatnot. So we can go to the next. And what are we doing for time? Where are we at? It's 12:50? See, I told you I can talk. I like to talk. Change the world. And this goes back to me saying people with millions of dollars who are giving back or volunteering or whatever, it's not always about them and what they're doing. That's what like the media and everybody sees. You can change the world. Jasmine can change the world. Dominic can change the world. You all have the power to change the world. I know that HOBY is about leadership and like having you guys find your passion and what it is so you can go down that path. Whatever it is, find it. But know that you are so powerful. If you don't learn anything else from today, just know that you are stronger than you think that you are. You are. There's so much inside of you. Like, God made us in a way that we won't break. We're not fragile. You can do so much. Don't ever discredit yourself. I want you to believe in yourself and your abilities and what you can do, and just go out and share it with the world. Tell everybody that you know. Like, my goal in life is to spread love and joy. Social media is a thing that I like to talk about because a lot of times on social media, people get very confident behind like their computer screen or their mobile device. So they talk to you in a way that they probably wouldn't if you were face to face. Like, people are strong and they'll say just some really, I'm sure you guys have seen some of the comments that people say if you follow any threads on, Twitter or whatever. Sometimes people are not so nice. It's your job to take that and just like gloss over it. Don't let that stuff affect you. Like, anytime that I see someone post something that's like just evil and horrible and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that they said that. Like, I think two things. Either one, they're a troll and they just like, they live off of making other people unhappy. Like, that's their thing. That's what gets them excited. I don't know why. I don't know why people are like that. I have no idea. I can't put myself in that mind frame to see what it's like to say something so evil just to get a rise out of somebody else. Like, and that's like fun to you. Like, I don't get it. So that's one thing that people do. The other thing I think is, man, I feel bad for that person because like, how messed up must their life be if that's what they resort to? If you say something that they don't, that's what social media seems to be now. I sometimes call it anti-social media because people don't use it the way that I think it should be used when you call it social media. People aren't being social. They're just being evil and they want to, if they have someone that has an opinion that doesn't agree with what they're saying, they don't want to hear it and they just instantly want to get upset and angry and attack. They're on defense mode. And I don't know why that is, but I'm just like, man, what is going on in their life that is making them so angry? Because I've never, even if I do read something that makes me upset, like I have something in my brain that will allow me to process that and say, you know what, I want to say this, but it's social media, so I'm not going to say it. And remember, if you're putting something out there on social media, that's going bigger than Omaha. Like, everybody can see that. Like, you never know. You might, when you go to college or something, like employers and stuff, I don't know if you guys know, but employers now, when you apply, a lot of them are going to social media and checking out people's profiles to see what kind of person they are. Because in an interview, you can say whatever you want to say to make yourself look good and try to get the job. But your true self comes out when they look at that social media profile and they're like, oh, well, this person said that they were like positive and they're a hard worker, but I see this and they're saying something that doesn't match what they told me in the interview. So be careful about what you're putting out there on social media. You can do a lot of damage with social media. People have a lot of reach that, like, when we were growing up, social media wasn't a thing. So if you didn't encounter it like face to face, you probably didn't know about it. But nowadays, social media is so easy to get access to all this negativity in the world, and it's so easy to like fall into, I call it the black hole of social media. I beg you, please do not fall into that black hole of social media. Like, maybe challenge yourself. Every time you see someone make a bad comment, you go out and make a good comment. Try to make somebody smile, like on a thread, or, don't even comment on the thread, just delete it or whatever, or just scroll past it, whatever. But change the world. You are strong. You each have the power to make a difference. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you don't matter, your opinion doesn't matter. As long as you can communicate and articulate yourself in a positive way, without disrespecting anyone else, speak your mind. I mean, that's a big thing. Sometimes people are scared, like, oh, if I say this, they might take it wrong. Just try to make sure that you present it in the right way. I'll give you an example. At work, I sent an email to someone outside of my department because they did something wrong. And I wasn't angry with them, but you know how it is. It's hard to like get context out of text. So I wasn't mad, but the way that I wrote it out, the person probably could have taken the email the wrong way, and I might have hurt their feelings or something like that. And I totally was not trying to do that. I was trying to coach the situation for future. Like, hey, this isn't what we should be doing. This is what we should be doing. And I tried to say we. I was trying not to say like you. And my manager still came back to me. She said, maybe like make sure like when you send an email like that, just put smiley faces in the email. And I was like, what? I'm a grown man. Why I need to put smiley faces in an email when I'm trying to tell someone at work? Like that's not professional. I'm not putting smiley faces in an email. And then I started to think about it, and I got an email from someone where I wasn't like, and this just happened this week. I got an email from someone, and I was like, bruh, who are you talking to? like they broke it down in the email. They put like, I asked them to specify what they were talking about because I didn't see any issues with the request that they were inquiring about. So they said, okay. And then they put like 3 words, comma, like they were breaking it down like I was a kid. And I was like, I actually know what I'm talking about. This guy seems like a jerk. So that just made me think, maybe they weren't being a jerk. Maybe they were. They probably were. But but I had to try to like think of it outside of the box and say, okay, so this is a prime example of why you want to make sure when you're sending a message, when a person can't hear your voice or see your face on the receiving side, it's easier for them to misconstrue the message that you're trying to give. So sometimes you have to take an extra couple of steps over the line and be all fluffy and cotton candy, Wonderland in your communications, just so people don't take it the wrong way, because ultimately that's not going to benefit anyone. And if that's not your intention, you don't want to come off like a jerk. Maybe that guy doesn't know that I was like, this guy's a jerk. I don't like this guy. If I ever see anything from him in the future, I'm just going to ignore it. That could have been what I chose to do, but again, that wouldn't be professional either. So just be conscious. Did you have a question?
I was just gonna say about responding to people that are being mean. Like some girls from my old school were just talking bad about me, and I talked to my guidance counselor about what should I do to respond the best, and he just his advice was you're the one who decides how you're gonna take stuff and how much you're really gonna think about it and let it bother you. And then after that, I just kind of ignored it.
Yeah, it's all perspective.
If they don't really have I feel bad for them because they don't have anything better to talk about, so they have to do that.
Yeah, don't let someone else's unhappiness make you unhappy. That's what it boils down to.
Just to be real, you're probably gonna die alone, so. Don't worry about it.
They always say kill them with kindness. So if there's an opportunity where you can try to bridge that gap, maybe you try to do that, take the higher road and all that stuff. And sometimes it sucks, and you're like, why should I have to be like the bigger person and blah 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 blah. It's not fair. That's just how it is. Life is not fair. In my house, we don't allow our kids to say it's not fair, because I know it's not fair. Life is not supposed to be fair. That's not what it's about. So we're not going to put our focus on it not being fair. What are you going to do about it not being fair? Show me something. What are you going to do? Go out and do something to make a difference with it not being fair. I don't care that it's not fair. Nothing is fair. Like the person, you could live your life the best that you can. You might get a good job and get a nice house and get all these things, and then someone might break into your house and take all those things. It's not fair. It's not. There's no answer to life being fair. It's just not, and we have to deal with that, and we have to do what we can do. We have to focus on what we, that's one of the things that my employer says, and one of the things that I try to tie into Small Guy Promotions. Focus on what you can control. It does suck sometimes, though, I will say that, but that's just what it is. So, do you guys have any questions? Because we're about at that time. I don't want to run you guys over. We're at 12:59, so any questions? I don't know if I had any. Was that? Boom! Perfect! So, thank you guys so much for allowing me to come out and talk to you. I hope you had a good time. Thank you again for asking me. I appreciate it.
This is just a little
Oh.
gift for you for
Do
coming
I have to wait till
spend this-
Christmas
I had to wait
to
till-
open it?
Oh, no.
Okay, cool,
You
cool.
open it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, but thank you so much for coming.
No,
and
thank you
spending your
guys. It was great.
time with us.
It was great.
So, hey, Hobie. Hey, what do we think of our speaker, Danelle? Outstanding.
Thank you guys.
Outstanding.
Thank you guys.
Outstanding.
If I was white, I would probably blush. Thank you so much.